Right then, this is a quick walkthrough video, and this is for a Honda CR-V 2-litre sports manual. This is a quite remarkable car, in all honesty. Not initially, it's a 2005 car, it's a facelift version. This car, the car's done 158,000 miles, coming as a part exchange to us. We obviously don't buy these for stock, but we sell predominantly Honda, and so we got lots of Hondas in. And every now and again you get something a bit special, regardless of the mileage. This car's got a completely full Honda service history from new, which I think from memory has, I think it was 17 recorded services by Honda. It will be going for an MOT prior to sale. It's due in a couple of months, we're getting that done. But the condition of the car is really quite extraordinary, in all honesty, and it is an absolute credit to its last owners, who I met, and they were genuinely lovely people. Going to go around the car for you. Front of the car, incredibly clean, lights and lenses clear and intact, no cracks or condensation there. The bonnet, it's hard to see a stone chip of any great note. I mean, there will be the odd minor one. Headlights are good, they're obviously slightly cloudy with age, but they're a bit of treatment as you can put on them would get those back up to looking really nice, but they would pass any MOT without any problem at all, and I'm being massively critical. Near side of the car, absolutely beautifully smooth in the panel work there. The only exterior mark I can see on this car of any note, little touch in just under the headlight washer, and just above it there, one above should just touch in really simply, and I think that is about it. Near side front alloy, beautiful condition. Come down the panel work, very, very clean. Near side rear alloy, again very good, just a tiny bit around the paint lift by the valve stem there, which is quite usual actually. It's still a really handsome car. I know it's nearly 20 years old, but I still think these are lovely looking things. You can see it's got the Honda CR-V spare wheel cover. It also has the hard one, which comes with the car as well, which I've had this one. I'll put it in the boot when I've finished in the video. Offside the car, driver's side, again just ludicrously smooth. The paint just looks really crisp. Offside rear alloy, absolutely lovely. Panel work again, any marks minuscule, and final alloy again lovely. If that was 6 years old, I'd say it was in very good condition, let alone nearly 20 years old. Let's go into the boot of the car. You get a huge boot. You can see there, tonneau cover all here, and underneath the carpeted area you've got the picnic table, which is still with the car. Just coming to the back, and this is where CR-Vs can be quite heavily used, just because they use as family cars, and yet this one's been kept really, really nicely. I go into the passenger front door, again very clean. Whatever is really nice, and passenger seat. It looks very like new, in all honesty. Finally, driver's door card, lovely and clean. Whatever is likewise. Driver's seat again, for the age and mileage, is very, very clean indeed. So inside the car now, engine's running, so the dash is illuminated. As you know from the advert, this is a rare car because it's actually fitted with the sat-nav system from the EX or executive model, and what's even rarer is that the sat-nav is still working perfectly well, as is the radio. Coming down the centre, you've got the cool box, air conditioning system, which is ice cold in the car, but fabulously clean. Come to the main dash pinnacle, hopefully you can see 158,422 miles, and there were no warning lights on the dash. The engine's running rather. Right then, so a quick road test video, and for quite an exceptional car really, in so many ways. This is a Honda CR-V 2-litre Sport. The car is registered BN05EJC, and the mileage is 158,414. The reason we do these videos is really, especially for cars like this, is to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they get to see that very car actually in operation. It can be hugely frustrating to go and see a car which can look perfectly good in photographs or description, but only to get there and find out it's actually got an obvious fault that shows up when you drive the car. We also do the road test on these very quiet roads in this beautiful part of Gloucestershire. This actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on, and the hope is, of course, it'll be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you go on a drive in the car. So coming to the car, it's done a fair number of miles. You would never believe it. Obviously, as you know from the walk around video, this is not going to be a cheap CRV, and rightly so, because the care and love that's been lavished on this car in terms of the way it's been kept, the ownership, it merits it. So we make no apologies whatsoever, and I doff my cap in particular to the last owners, who not only are they lovely people, but they really have looked after this car extraordinarily well. But I'm going to go through all the usual things. Turn the key, engine starts instantly and settles to a smooth, even idle. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all that relate to the engine or any other part of the car. Temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle. I've always said in pretty much every video that Honda build the best 4-cylinder engines in the world, and here's why. Yeah, I know it's been well maintained, but 158,000 miles, when you listen to it, when you put your foot down and accelerate, it just sounds and feels exactly as it would have done when it was new. It's quiet, it's refined, it's tractable. When you do allow it to rev, it does so with a sort of pleasing background noise. It's just got that lovely thrum to it that you get from Honda engines of this vintage. So clean in the way it revs out. A lovely engine, really is. Clutch on the car bites exactly where it's meant to. It's smooth and squeak free in the operation of the clutch. And then you go into the Honda manual gearbox, which is another superb gear change. The gear change itself feels lovely and mechanical in the way it changes the gear, even though it is cable operated, as most are these days. But the quality of the shift, the synchro mesh, is second to none, and even despite the mileage, that feels as though it's come up for the production line. It's got no wear in it. It feels crisp. All the gear changes are precise and accurate as they always would have been. So then coming on to the steering and chassis of the car, a lovely vintage car, because you've got this lovely, almost, it's power steering, so it's light and easy to use, but it's got a heft on the move. Tracks dead straight. There's no vibrations at this speed or any speed up to legal limit, but it's got a kind of lovely oiliness about it, which I really like. These are not sports cars. I know it says it's a sport, but that's the trim level. But there's something very engaging and endearing about the way these things still drive. The chassis gives you this wonderfully comfortable, compliant ride, very well judged. But when you do go through corners, it is far more capable than you'd ever give it credit. So turning into a corner here with a bit more speed than normal, turn in, hardly any body motions, hardly any of those sort of secondary motions you get on so many cars, especially a lot of its competitors. Brakes, worth pointing out, very good. No pulsing, no vibrations coming back through the brake pedals, all fine there. Not quite sure what this chap's doing. But the whole feeling of the car is just so tight, and so it's unbelievable that the car is now 19 years old. It not only because of how it drives in terms of how mechanically tight the whole thing feels, but just how well it still drives. By comparison to modern cars, still feels a very, very accomplished car. But there's the suspension exhibits absolutely no rattles, no clonks, nothing at all from underneath. And then finally coming inside, we've not cleaned it. This is how it's come to us, and yet looking around inside, it could be a car 2 or 3 years old. Benefits from having at the time the optional sat nav, which still works, which wasn't always the case, by the way, with these, but there it is, functioning perfectly, as is the radio. air conditioning pumping out absolutely ice cold air, so that's all good, which also means that your little cool box in there, put my hand in there, lovely and cold. So if you like your chocolate nice and hard, put it in there with your sandwiches, keep them fresh. That's all working exactly as it should. Then you've got this dash binnacle in front, clear, legible, simple, easy to use dials, easy on the eye, but great for just getting that information over to you. And then you've got this steering wheel, all the functions working exactly as they should on there as well. One thing you do notice about these cars of this vintage is just how much visibility you've got. They're wonderful. Get inside the car, you look around, you can see everything around you really clearly. And build quality is astonishing. No squeaks, no rattles, it's just a really beautifully put together car. This is a four-wheel drive CR-V, as they all were of this vintage. It uses real-time four-wheel drive, so basically it's going to run 99% of the time in front-wheel drive, two-wheel drive only. Only if it needs to go into four-wheel drive will it do so. It senses the front wheels starting to lose grip, and then we'll bring in the rear wheels to give you four-wheel drive. It's a brilliant system because most of the time you don't need four-wheel drive on. So this is where Honda came up with this. We've been selling CR-Vs for decades now and haven't so much as put a spanner on a four-wheel drive system. They are very robust indeed. The advantages of the system are fairly obvious. By not running the whole time, you're going to save fuel, certainly on tyre wear, and it puts far less mechanical stress through the vehicle. As I said at the start of the video, it's only brief, but it's just to show you the car operating. I can't fault this car in any way. It drives absolutely beautifully.